information about yourself and become your own big brother? And second part, how do we get these tools into the hands of journalists, educators, and social scientists who really need to understand them now?
Okay, what? I'm sure it was a good question, but it was just...
That mic's a little hard for us.
Little hard. Okay,
yeah,
so one more time.
And guys, it's probably a bad idea for us to do this from two locations. Can one of you guys just like take control of the question and? Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So just
all right.
All right, one more time in the back.
Real quick, so how do these dynamics change if you start keeping track of all of your own data yourself and become your own big brother? And how do we get these kinds of tools into the hands of journalists, educators, and social scientists who could use them to do better than the government and corporations?
The answer is, if you keep track of your own data, all it does is it lets you effectively know how screwed you are. It does not remove that data from other people's access. I mean, if you start being proactive in the future, look, people ask you for your social security number, you give it to them blindly. They have no right to it. When I registered my phone in Texas, they asked me for my social security number, I refused. There's a limited number of people, of types of entities that have a right to ask for your social security number, for example. It's not a question of being aware of your information, it's restricting who gets it to the bare minimum.
But I think, Steve, the second part of his question is actually something.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm bringing it up. Because this is right in line with what you're talking. He's talking about using the same sort of tools you would trace yourself and just making more people aware, and especially journalists and people like that, of the same sort of tools that are available that are being abused. And this is exactly what you're in favor of. You're in favor of the information is going, we've had this conversation many times. The information is out.
And I've got to tell you, that's my crusade, to get this information out to everyone, make people more aware, keep the information free, and journalists are the best at that. Number one, get journalists to go to Hope so they can actually attend seminars on this. But there are, I mean, the Reporters Committee on Freedom and Privacy puts this information out, and there are workshops now. I mean, journalists are really starting to get it, I think.
Yeah, and I think just from my experience with doing the research for the book and everything, and I really am firmly convinced that there's no going backwards on it, and so I'm definitely in the camp of make everybody aware of how to get all of this, and if all that information is going to be out there, then it shouldn't just be in the hands of a few. So,
information has been out there for years, and now they want to put it back in the bottle. Yeah. Privacy advocates want to now restrict the use of social security numbers. Well, guess what? If you have a person's name and date of birth or phone number, you can get everything about them anyway.
Correct.
The only problem with restricting social security numbers, and it's going to be a problem when people have to do background investigations on a new lover, a potential employee, or a new employee, or anybody for that matter, your new coach for the kids. We have to have something that can identify the person as.
Okay, we got, you know, they're getting a big hook ready to pull us off the stage. So 3 more questions. Because between the 3 of us, we weigh like, what, 800 pounds? Nobody's hooking us off so easy. Okay, seriously, 3 quick questions, and then I tell you what, I'll go outside the room. Anybody who wants to talk to me, I'll stay there for an hour, 2 hours.
We'll go down to the vendors area.
Even better. Yeah. You know what? Rick has a table. We'll go to the vendors area. Anybody who wants to talk to us, we'll give you unlimited time.
Go ahead.
3 more questions here.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, man.
How you doing? I got an opinion question for you. I'm considering, especially since I've had unfortunate experience with past relationships, or the person I plan to date as far as a relationship,
Mike, he wants to do a background check on his next girlfriend. That's what you're saying, right? Okay. Steve, opinion?
First, make sure she doesn't post to "Don't date him, girl." Look, the truth is, the amount of public information out there is extraordinary. For something like a potential date, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, you don't need a private investigator. Look at her MySpace pages, look at her LinkedIn, look at her blog activity, and you know what? See how far back it goes? make sure she didn't create that identity a year ago. Just a little tip there. Next question. You're the
Yeah,
next to
go ahead.
last. Here you go, man.
I'll repeat it, but go quick.
Well, first off, two questions from.
One
One
question.
question.
Okay, one question from Radio Statler. People in IRC asking, how do we protect ourselves from tracking with Google and other services?
How do we protect ourselves from tracking with Google and other services?
You don't, because Google not only...
You don't use them.
Google not only amalgamates, you mean tracking by Google or tracking when you use Google? You don't, because not only is information that you've contributed, which I'm guessing is already endless and you can't put the genie back in the bottle, not only is that there, but everything that anybody else writes about you. I mean, hence the title of this talk, Privacy is Dead, Get Over It. It really is. You can't do it. You can't get the genie back in the bottle. Once information is posted, it is there forever.
Okay, last question. Just
One of the things that you keep harping on is sexual orientation.
Harping?
Yes, you keep repeating that that's something you can find out about a person. But it seems like in today's society, that sort of information about a person is much less damaging. And so society has changed in a way that even finding out this information about a person is not as valuable or as damaging to that person as it used to be.
Where do you live?
New York.
It's not damaging in New York. Talk to the nice educator from Kansas. Ask her what the prevalent attitude is in her community.
Would it be better if society became a place where it was okay to know these things?
Of course.
But
Haven't you been listening to me for 3 hours?
And I've heard this talk now. Yeah, I've heard this talk several times. And his point he's trying to make, and I kind of had sort of the same reaction you did the first time I heard it. His point he's trying to make is that it's something that traditionally and still today most people want to keep private and are not aware how they're. So as an example, but it's one that gets politically charged,
Look,
especially
there's-
for radical lefties like us.
There's
But
discrimination. There's discrimination just on your data. Are you an African American? Are you gay? Are you Jewish? Are you a left-winger? Are you a right-winger? If I look at your data, I will find something to dislike about you potentially. And what I'm saying is you need, maybe quickly, but what I'm saying is you need to be aware that that information is out there the same way just your name and address is out there.
all right. I think
Thank
we're
you
done.
very much, folks.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, that's